These instead were elevator up, elevator down. And it was just, you rise rapidly, and then these things were down 40%.
You can define your risk very easily. If this thing takes out lows, you're gone, right?
You get that big down day, and I was always trying to buy on that down day, and then you have like another 3. What's the point in deploying capital into something that's just gonna go sideways until the next earnings report? Da Vinci surgical robot, I feel like over time, if they implement AI enough, you could remove the human element of the surgeon and just have someone monitoring.
I'll take a bigger bet than you. I'll say Bitcoin 110 before the end of the year. What it implies, if what happens is not what is implied based on that pattern, you're going to see a faster and stronger move.
Cause we poppin' like over red and vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire. I'm a young money millionaire.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Daily Stack. Markets are walking back. One of the biggest weeks in the entire summer, I'd say. Semiconductors got torched last week. Coming back this morning, some of the fear has been draining out, I'd say, and then we got a huge week. Mega cap earnings here with Alphabet, Tesla, Intel all stepping up to the plate. And it's always fun when my stock buddies of mine, JFDI, said the name of the game here is crypto. And I said, wow, we're fucking back then. We are back. So congrats to Spain for winning the World Cup. I was cheering for Argentina. I'm $150 poorer now. But it was one of the coolest things. I don't know if you guys got involved with the World Cup, but a lot of my friends became soccer fans overnight. And we are all World Cup fanatics. Welcome, boys.
Yeah. I grew up playing soccer here. It was obviously before soccer was really anything, at least here in the United States. But yeah, I'm a fan. I miss playing, honestly, every day. I've had my nose broken like 7 or 8 times and surgery on it 3 times. Last time I broke it actually was a men's league, and my son ran out in the field and was like, "Dad, why is your nose bleeding?"
Oh gosh, my nose an ultimate frisbee, so it's not as cool. Concussion. I had an ambulance come out on the field, so you gotta be careful. It's aggressive, yeah.
Yeah.
So, it was funny actually. I had a sty at the same time. I don't know if you know what sty is. It's like a little And I remember one thing I did remember from that is the ambulance guy was like, "What is that on your eye?" And I was like, that has nothing to do with this. And he's like, "Just sit down." And it says, pretty crazy. Joey, how are you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Yeah, missed you guys last week. Pretty hectic. Had to go out to Nashville. Had my brother-in-law to be's bachelor party. So kept all those kids in line, made sure no one got in too much trouble, and now we're back in the saddle.
I liked some of those pictures you sent me. It looked pretty fun. So,
huge week. We have Royal Range. Highly recommend anybody go out there, shoot machine guns.
Dude, yeah, that looks so sweet.
Yeah, I didn't know if you wanted me to say that, but yeah, he had some heavy ammunition, and we found out JFDI is a sharpshooter himself. So don't mess with our podcast. We're out of here.
We'll come for you.
Anyways, Joe, you want to kick things off since you were eagerly talking about your exciting trade? I'll keep the dollar amount out, but decent sized trade for you with Marvel.
Yeah. So I mean, this semiconductor neo cloud like meltdown over the last 2 weeks. I mean, granted, we got extremely overbought. I mean, we were talking Nebius a couple weeks ago, where it's like to see, buying a stock and seeing like your thesis play out that you had for years, and it plays out in 6 months.
No,
I mean, a lot of these stocks got way overheated, but it's one of those. You usually get the escalator up, elevator down was always a saying. These instead were elevator up, elevator down. And it was just, you rise rapidly, and then these things were down 40%. So, I
didn't call that. He did tell me.
I mean,
I didn't listen.
I didn't listen.
I popped back in like an idiot.
It was more like we've seen this before. I mean, I've only been around since 2009, but I've seen it 3 or 4 times now, where everybody's piling into a trade. Everybody's a bottleneck expert, and everybody's a memory, DRAM, all this stuff. Like, when you see that, it's a crowded trade.
Yeah.
And what happens is these stocks get really overheated. Then you have the people that bought, say they bought Micron at 1,000. They start freaking out when it goes to 950 because they're like, oh, I don't want to be a bag holder. So then you just get this cascade of selling, and everybody then that bought at 900 wants to sell, and 850, and you just get like this massive pullback all at once. But what I was doing was I made a mistake on a trade with Marvell back at like 96, 97. So to see that go into the, low 300s kind of made me sick. Granted, I was still performing very well with the market, but to see that pull back from like 325 all the way back down to, I think it got into the 170s, like in the overnight market last week. So I started buying like mid 180s, added a little bit more this morning in the 190s, just because I was waiting for the selling to be over, because you never really know when it is. And this could just be, like a head fake rally before continued selling to where I would build this up. But this is one of the names when I was looking at, the growth over the next 3 years. I mean, this thing's going to be growing the top line at what, a 40% clip the next 3 years. And to have that backing of Nvidia where they took a stake in them.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I feel like this is one where it just makes sense. And I am still buying at a premium to what it was a year ago. That's fine. I was just looking for a way to play this outside of like an Nvidia where, the numbers just made sense. So I've got ticker pulled up. They'll grow revenues year ended 2027, 41%, 2028, 45%, 2029, 39%. So like this thing, they're in the sweet spot of semiconductors right now. And all while earnings are going to be growing. Let's see, normalized.
Didn't Jensen say it's 1,000? He said market.
He said it's $1 trillion company. Now, They did take the stake in it. So, of course, he's got his money where his mouth is on that one. But to see them partnered up with the right people, this was more of like, I want to say like a safe way to jump into one of these names that have been absolutely hammered over the last couple of weeks.
What's the legality on that? Because like he's Trump gets all the shit on for like insider trading and telling people what to buy, and then like Jensen's doing the same thing basically, right? And I guess he's not in politics, so he doesn't get his hate out on. But is that fine for CEOs to start name dropping stocks and being like they should be $1 trillion company?
I mean, I doubt Jensen would do something that he can't. I mean, That guy, he's smarter than 99% of CEOs. So, I mean, again, his money where his mouth is on this one, and they're very ingrained with Nvidia and Marvell are very close knit when it comes to everything they're doing. So, I think it's more expressing confidence in your partners, not so much. I mean, the guy doesn't need to pump his book. I mean, he's worth what, $100 billion. So yeah, I could see where people could get frustrated, like, oh, you're only saying this because you took a stake. But I mean, it's Jensen. I mean, if there's some no-namer that's taking a stake saying, oh, this is going to $1 trillion, like, okay, whatever, dude. But when Jensen speaks, I think people need to listen.
Yeah. What do you think about it? Nvidia's pulled back too. Is this where are you looking to buy Nvidia again? Almost at 4.95 trillion right now.
Nvidia's one of those like buy and hold type names, not so much trade around. So that's one. It's just set and forget. Yeah, it's the beach stock. It's the one you put in there with, like the Meta and the Google, something along those lines. With Meta, I mean, that Meta compute thing. I don't know if you guys discussed that last week, but that's pretty massive for them.
Yeah, well, we touched on it with that was like the initial drop on Nebius was when Meta came out, or the Bloomberg article I think it was came out, and then it was like backtracked and Nebius recovered, and then Meta's back in the news saying it is a real thing with Anthropic. You're talking about, right?
Yeah, it's like a two-year, $10 billion compute deal.
Do you think that I know from NeoClouds, do you think their run is over then? Do you think because that was my fear 2 years out, 3 years out, is that Meta and some of these hyperscalers just start building these out themselves. From what I've listened to, and I was just listening to it wasn't the All In podcast. It was another podcast with the CEO of Sierra, and he was talking about how he had a conversation with the Nebula CEO, and he's like, they have 10x capacity, like they cannot satisfy this demand still. So
yeah, I don't think the hyperscalers are going to kill off the neoclouds. I think there's just so much compute needed that it's going to be one where, you know, everybody's selling.
All hands on deck.
Is going to win. I just prefer, so like we talked about the Nebius trade, you know, I was using that more as a trade.
Yeah.
So when I went into it, that mindset, I can't change my mind after the fact. So I was, you know, almost selling that. And we were talking about redeploying gains of that into names like Meta, Microsoft, Google, those. So while I think all of them will win, I am much more comfortable owning the Meta, Google's, Microsoft's, those types of things, just because this market has been so hot. I want to protect those gains.
Yeah.
Now I am still watching, you know, whether it's Applied, Nebius, CoreWeave. These pullbacks are pretty damn interesting, but I do have Meta. I think it's my second largest position. So I love what Mark's doing over there. So I'm actually looking to beef up the Meta position rather than chase a neocloud right now.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense. And I should have listened after you called MSTR to the dollar basically 2 times on the way down, and then you said the same thing with Nebius, and it hit. So you got a buddy in here, Nick stares at candles, giving you some love. Says Nick,
John,
Elf Pen, nice, not involved. This seems like code words of some sort. You said Bitcoin is back potentially. JFDI, what are we seeing on the charts? If you want to pull that up and share about.
Let's see here.
Nothing.
And if that's the case, I mean, we got to look at Coinbase again. So if you think crypto is back, I mean, that one's been absolutely destroyed.
I just saw this kid that's been pretty good on Twitter. Just made a call on Coinbase calls.
Take a look at Circle.
Oh, I do like Circle.
Here, you put in there.
Yep.
Damn, Circle's been destroyed.
Yeah. Kind of what I had mentioned pre-show, and I was kind of chirping with the dudes on Stock Twits. I've been kind of putzing with this oscillator. The oscillator doesn't really matter, but because all the oscillators are more or less the same, I think. But when you're looking at Bitcoin here, we put in this, kind of capitulation low, and have more or less moved sideways. And we came to retest this low here twice now. And in both instances, if you're just looking at the volume signature, as price pushed into this low, we didn't come close to the volume we had over here on this capitulation. Mm-hmm. So guys thinking that they're going to short this thing kind of through the lows, I'm sure we're sitting in a monumental, amount of pain. And then we did kind of roll over and actually put in a new low here. And again, on lighter volume, speaking to the oscillator here, you can see that as price put in a low here, it kind of peaked out. Over here, as price tested that low, this oscillator couldn't make a new low as well. So it's basically what it's saying is that it just doesn't have the juice to push it lower. And then on top of that, fast forward to here, price actually made a new low. The oscillator couldn't even, barely budged. And usually when you see an oscillator kind of reverting back to that neutral line, it's kind of a reset point. So bears here could really kind of take this as a reset point. We definitely could fail. The way I approach things is I generally am trying to look for these kind of stair step up first. So what I'm saying here is that, you're putting an A point here, B point here, C point here. We're taking steps in the right direction. Again, for the way that I trade, I try to stack and layer. So, these things are really guilty until proven innocent in my mind, especially considering Bitcoin has been in this massive downtrend. If you're getting involved here to the long side, coming from kind of a fresh entry, it's just it's a starter position unless it's a short-term trade back up to the 200-day, because the 200-day has more or less acted as resistance on this, meltdown. So from a bullish perspective, we're stepping in the right direction. We want to see this thing push up, ultimately kind of rip the 200-day and kind of put in a little bit bigger base here, test this, maybe go tight. How it plays out, I'm not really sure, but it's taking a step in the right direction is all I'm saying. And so it looks good. You could pull up, circle. Got kind of a nice igniting bar. Volume's not really there to necessarily confirm, but again, back to looking at volume. Maybe ignore the oscillator here, but you have this high volume move here as well as kind of this sell off, and as price kind of came down here, you've got a few volume spikes, but I don't know. It feels rippy to me from a technical standpoint. If I was looking at circle, I would be looking to see 71, 72 get reclaimed and hold. That would be kind of your undercut and rally entry. And then again, like starter position here, stack it. Price kind of moves higher, starts to leg or stair step, build into it. I'm just not like, it's difficult for me to, for the most part, try to catch a falling knife. So I'm just trying to provide kind of a plan or a framework for getting involved in the position, if that.
Yeah. I'd say most of the guests that we bring on that are Bitcoin focused, the consensus has been around like September, October, November timeframe would be when it starts to rip again. I'm going to create actually a market here. What's your price prediction? Maybe we'll have you help create this market on Predict.
Ultimately, I think it's kind of range bound. So even if we held here, I would just probably be in the camp that we're going to gravitate towards the high end of the range. Again, I'd have to see how we respond and behave pushing into highs for me to say, okay, I think we're going to like base out and rip like the next leg higher. Mm-hmm. What I will say about the weekly chart as well as the monthly is you have kind of this head and shoulders top or a look, and typically a head and shoulders is kind of there's a bearish implication there.
Yeah.
But with how strong the market's been, and the reoccurring theme has been basically bear traps. When you see these patterns, like again, who cares what it implies if what happens is not what is implied based on that pattern, you're going to see a faster and stronger move. Mm-hmm. So where I'm talking about, getting into a starter here, you can define your risk very easily. If this thing takes out lows, you're fucking gone, right? So you're almost, I would argue that you're not so much catching a falling knife here. You actually have a reason to enter. It starts, gets above 83, dude, we're going to be cooking. It will take a while to get these long-term moving averages to, flatten out and curl back upward. But again, step in the right direction. Guilty till proven innocent, but yeah. And then kind of same thing, even on the weekly time frame, again, same oscillator. You can see that the oscillator put in, it stretched as price put in again a new low here, taking out this low. This thing couldn't push further. So I know you're.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it's coming up. Maybe it happened this last week here. There with the Clarity Act, I know doesn't seem like it's gonna happen. And I think we saw the White House. I think it was like 300 Bitcoin or something. I gotta get the exact number, but they did move it into a hot wallet, which sparks some speculation if the reserve conversation's dead and they're going to start selling it, or no one knows, but they did move it into a Coinbase Prime custodian wallet. So pull up MSTR. Obviously it's going to go hand in hand here. We'll get into Google and Tesla here. as they have earnings this week, and Intel too. We can touch on.
I mean, Mr. Very similar, obviously. I mean, it's going to move with Bitcoin. I think that you have a potential for an undercut and rally move. You're going to want to see it above 100, 110 probably. If Bitcoin does start moving and this thing starts cooking, I could see this thing like rip hard. I don't know what the what the short interest is on something like this. Let me take a look.
Yeah, I mean it's been brutal to say the least, and I got to give my hat tip to Joey who did call. I had it at like 290. It was like I think I got it at like 300. I've been in earlier, but then I did add a decent chunk at 300 or something. And Joey's like, it's gonna go to 290. Then he said 190. Then he goes, it's going to 90. And I was just like, fuck, I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. And he was right, unfortunately. But why he's up? Why we bring him on?
I've never understood like why strategy over Bitcoin. And Jonathan Morgan over here at StockTwits is one of the smartest people you'll ever meet when it comes to this space. And even him, he's like, yeah, I would never own this. So to have that confirmation from him, it was more so.
Well, why wouldn't you just own the asset outright? Why would you need why?
That's the thing.
It's just
that was always my question was like, okay, well, why this over Bitcoin? I get at the very, very beginning when like if you wanted to own it in a 401k, you couldn't own Bitcoin. You had to own like some asset vehicle. Yeah. But with all that changing, I just think it became so unnecessary. Yeah. And then it became, it's going to be this digital bank. But then I think the whole thesis kind of went like any bull thesis, I think, was thrown out the window as soon as he started actually selling some. I was like, that he's going against everything he's ever said. So now you can't take anything he says seriously ever again.
No, I agree.
Yeah, it was. That's when I said I was like, if he ever says he's selling, I'm out. Then down 70% on this thing. So I'm not out. I'm holding it.
Yeah.
So. Gotta believe. But I mean, they are, I think, still sub nav with MNAV now. Metaplanet's another one that I'm holding. That one I still think I'm.
What's the ticker?
Break. MTPLF.
MTPLF.
Or maybe there it is.
Oh,
there's another one that got absolutely smoked. They're out of Japan, so they had an interesting. The angle with them was, if you sell Bitcoin in Japan, it's 50% taxed, and then if you buy, so they had a much better story, in my opinion, that you get tax benefits by buying this. If you wanted to buy Bitcoin, you wouldn't have to pay. You're paying just like
that part actually makes some sense to me.
Yeah, that one's interesting. Although Japan, I haven't checked recently, but I know the yen carry trade feels over, and they're in a lot of trouble. And then the other one is ASST, which is interesting because that's Strive, which is separate from this, but Vivek looks like he's probably going to win Ohio, and he's heavily involved in that. So that could be potentially interesting if he says Ohio is going to have a Bitcoin reserve, which could be a play here as well. Let's get into Google, Tesla, and Intel. What do you think they're going to do here on earnings? Tesla, and you said, sorry, let me go on mute here. My kid is screaming. I don't know if you can hear her. But Google's been grinding mid 340s, 350s over the past week, catching a little bid today here. 14% up on the year. Joey, I know you've been talking about them quite a bit. I think, tell me if I'm wrong. I thought you said you weren't loving them as much, but I could be wrong here.
Yeah, I mean, this was one. I mean, I talked about this with Brad Freeman a lot. This is one I loved when it was seen as the big AI loser and was like 16, 17 times earnings. I want to say it was like 150 to 160 range. Then you saw that quick re-rating. And that's the thing. It's like, I think this could get to, I think I had said, I think it could be like a $300, $400 stock by 2028, 2029, something along those lines. But whenever the thesis plays out way too fast, that's when I get a little uncomfortable. So like that multiple expanded from 16, 17 to like 29, 30, something along those lines. So that's where I was trimming it. I want to say it was at might have been 380. It's somewhere up there. It could have been like 370. And that's when I was rotating into Meta because Meta was just in the dumps. So I would almost like the old dogs of the Dow theory, but using dogs of the mag. So I was selling these rips in Google and these different neo clouds or whatever trades I had on. I was buying like Meta, Microsoft at, I think it was mid 340s, something along those lines. And I've been unloading Microsoft just because I hate Microsoft just as a company. But I saw it as like almost a free money trade, and was basically using that to then buy Marvell because I actually like that company and where it's going. But again, so that's like how I treat the trading positions. But yeah, Google, I think the rally is just so significant. I feel like it needs to grow into its valuation now. So it could just trade sideways for say a year, and then that valuation gets more attractive, where a Meta was trading at like 19 times forward, where I thought it was vastly undervalued. So I preferred having capital there and adding to it.
Yeah. Does Google have Anthropic too? I feel like Anthropic, I know Amazon's got a big chunk of Anthropic.
I'm pretty sure
if they do. And Microsoft's got the OpenAI, a big stake in there too. So
yeah, Google owns around 14 to 15% of Anthropic, if Google answer is correct.
how much of his own? Because I feel like Anthropic's owned by like every other
14%.
I wonder how much their CEO. I gotta look this up. How much their CEO?
Yeah, a lot of those deals were signed like we'll take a stake and we'll give you compute capacity. So I don't know if they actually put money into it, because it says Google committed up to $40 billion in cash and computing infrastructure to support its growth. So I feel like they just gave them like cloud credits essentially. But yeah, I mean, Google also had that massive stake in SpaceX. So this is all stuff that could help it grow into its valuation. But yeah, like Amazon that Nick has pulled up right now. I mean, this is another one where I feel like, yeah, it's done pretty well compared to others, but still, when I'm looking at the valuation compared to others, this is pretty damn attractive.
So we were correct. Amazon and Google hold upward of 28 to 30% of the company. Google's antitrust case confirmed that the search giant holds 14% of Anthropic in straight equity, hard capped contractually at 15%. Amazon does not disclose their ownership percentage, but estimates based off public filings have the stake somewhere between mid and high teens. I think I saw like 14% with someone, but 135 to 160 billion. So like when those hit, is that priced in at this point, do you think, for most people? Or I mean, it's going to be a big pop for their revenue, but is that priced in, do you think? I mean, everyone knows it. Has to be.
I feel like it is at this point, especially when like the SpaceX IPO, Google didn't do too much after the fact. So I feel like that was priced in. So yeah, I wouldn't use that as like a catalyst.
We'll know this, obviously as well. And then we got Tesla. Where's Tesla's story at right now? So Tesla,
looking good.
It is looking good.
Yeah, this is
looking
that's
good.
interesting.
Came below both 50 period and 100 period moving averages after 2.6 drop on Friday. Stock's down about 12% in 2026. I still hold a big chunk of Tesla, so I am hoping it continues its little.
I mean, on the long term, we gotta talk. Whenever you ask me a question, we gotta talk time frame. I think on the larger time frame, it looks just fine. On the short term, I don't think it looks that great, but I'm kind of honestly hoping we do see 300. I think it'd wash a lot of short term just traders out and kind of reset the thing. But it's more or less looking like the rest of the mag names where they're all in kind of a big range. They all look on the larger time frames, they all look phenomenal. Like they all look great.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're just a hardcore pessimist and think the world's going to end, which I'm not in that boat.
Yeah, this is one I'm really hoping gets absolutely smacked after earnings.
Yeah.
Or it starts like a week or 2 week selling cycle. So then, yeah, get this into the low 300s and I'll start buying.
It seems that both Apple and Tesla kind of move in the opposite as the rest of the mag names. So Apple I think was pulling in as well. And so depending on how the market responds to their EPS, I think we'll probably, from the way that it looks, it does look like that's what is coming, Joe. Like Tesla could probably get smacked. Apple could probably pull in while the rest of them actually kind of take off or even just continue to go range bound.
Yeah. I mean, their big story obviously is software. I've rented a Tesla right now, and I absolutely love it. My wife does not. She doesn't.
Dude,
use
the sickest story that I saw over the weekend was that guy who has a video of himself saying, "Dude, it is so hot and muggy. I turned my Tesla on to freaking camp mode, and I was sleeping in my Tesla instead of the house."
Here, let's pull
And
it
it
up.
only used, I think, 11% of the battery or something. It kept it at like, shoot, I don't even know. It was like 20 degrees Celsius or something. I don't remember what exactly he said. Yeah, that guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 14 seconds, so we'll play it.
Well, I really don't mind those hot summer nights because I set the Tesla camp mode to 20 degrees. So it's actually very nice in here, almost a little bit too cold. So that's why I need the blanket.
Maybe you saw a longer version. Oh, here it is.
Same with
Hello.
the guy. There's another guy that because the air quality was so bad, turned on like the biohazard mode, and then
Yeah.
you could drive around without.
I didn't know about that one. That
Yeah,
mode.
they've got some mode where like the AC filters to where like if you're in the apocalypse and the air outside isn't breathable, that it makes it.
He has. I mean, this has been around for a while, but you can make the Tesla fart. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. My kids had a field day with that. She thinks it's hilarious. And then we do one light show every evening right now. If you guys have seen that.
That's awesome.
It's just like, it's like, Elon's just like fucking around, like having a great time, like,
I mean, considering the state of the planet and just all the shit kind of going on, like, dude, if we can't have a little bit of fun, it's like,
I've been having fun with it in the parking lots. I'll just have the fart button. Brings me back to my childhood memories there. And then this was interesting too, though. It goes from, I'll find it. Let me see here. Anything could happen on when you're live. Anyways, it was talking about anything could happen. Yeah, I got to take a screen share off before I get myself in trouble. But the humanoids are still. When are those coming out? Because they've been talked about forever. Elon's been doing that for years now, or he'll say something's coming out and it takes a little longer. But like the margins on that stuff is going to be astronomical, especially like full self-driving, which you got to get if you're in a Tesla. It's the coolest thing ever to have this thing drive for you. And it's just it's what is it trading at, like 300 times earnings though? Three even higher, 340. Let me see this.
the other, real quick, the other cool kind of story that I saw over the weekend was the guy who had, a couple, wife, a couple kids, had a, like, blacked out while he was driving. And everyone was okay. Blacked out, ultimately had like a seizure of some sort. They yanked his driver's license for a year. And he was kind of talking about how awesome, Tesla is with the self-driving and, that kind of thing. I don't know. The stories are cool.
Yeah. And the Cybercab was another story. So Cybercabs, let me pull this one up too.
I will say I took a Waymo when I was in Nashville, and that thing, it was amazing.
So the
Was it weird getting in it without was it weird? Was that your first time?
So that was the first time I ever took one. So,
Okay.
I go on the Waymo app, basically said where I was. And sure enough, this little thing kind of flies up next to me. And you have to pull out the app, and you could have it to where it automatically unlocks when you get close. Like you set it to where it knows where you are, like uses the Bluetooth connection, knows when you're next to it. And I didn't have that turn on, so I had to pull it back out and hit like unlock car, and it like the handles kind of popped out and get in. And then either on the app or the screen in there, it's like, yeah, I'm ready to go. And you like swipe it up and then off you go. And then from there, you can control the thermostat from the app.
You get out at any time?
Huh?
Can you get out? Like if, like, I'm assuming you can just open the door at any time.
I'm sure you could, but I mean, there's parts in Nashville I did not want to just jump out. I'm pretty sure I could have. But yeah, like from the app, you can control like what temperature you want. It's got YouTube Music where you pick the music. Then you can make the leg room, like you can move the chair in front of you so you have more space. It was pretty cool.
That is sweet. These
Cyber
cyber
like $12.
out too. Here, there's the video I wanted to show. I took a drone over the Tesla Gigafactory. How do I do this? Yeah, check this out. So they're in production. It's kind of cool. This is the lengths that some people go to get alpha. Just take a drone over the Tesla. That's gonna be fun though. I mean, it is so cool. If anyone listening has never been in a self-driving car, try to do it.
I mean, if you can buy this for 30 grand and have it take you places, then when you're not using it, have it just go out and make you cash. That's the part that is
yeah, well, that's going to be a huge thing. I think a lot of hedge funds are going to be buying up fleets of these things, right? Like the guy I rented through Toro, and Toro's like Airbnb for car rentals, and people are doing that today. But I can see this being a huge business. I remember when they first came out with this news, people were talking about like the math behind it, and if you rent or you buy one of these things, you buy a fleets of them, you can just have these things running all the time, and it is the coolest. Like,
as long as they limit how many can be sold like in each zip code, so then it's not like my small town in Virginia has thousands of these things just everywhere.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to all these Uber drivers? Well, I mean, this is our like my bull case for Uber too. Is like, all right, they have to pay their drivers, I think 30% or something today. That goes away in the next 5 to 10 years.
I always thought Uber's defense would be like they have so many people that already have the app downloaded, and that they could be like the marketplace for all of these. But I mean, that Waymo app,
yeah,
it's just as good. I mean, you got to think they also own Google Maps and all that stuff. So it's so easy for them to make this. And it was flawless. It knew exactly where I was. I walked 5 feet to get into the car. And I always get just the craziest Uber drivers. And like, I never got car sick until I started taking Ubers and like sitting in the back seat. And I just get some speed demons that like switching lanes, and yeah,
max mode on the Tesla. It's pretty wild. I was on hurry mode, but I took it all the way up to like my cabin in Minnesota for 2 hours. The thing drove by itself, and I felt like safer in it because like so many times I'll just like look down, someone text me or something, and that 1 millisecond is all it takes, you know. I'm probably indicting myself right now, but I was like eating a burrito in the car. I was like, this is incredible, you know. What do you think? Can you pull up Intel real quick, Nick?
Yeah.
Intel's on Thursday, I think you said.
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, I think this is kind of what we'll see this week will be kind of like, again, kind of, you got to share the,
yeah, sorry. My one job on this down here. Yeah. Oh, because my other one's, give me 1 second.
I think that this week we'll see some resolution to a degree in the NAS, how, again, we handle Google, Tesla, and Intel. Intel's on Thursday, and Thursdays are a very wild card day to me. Yeah. But we're pushing into week 12 of this consolidation period, and so it's obviously timely that all the mag names are reporting. So let's just say the reaction to the Google, Tesla, Intel is favorable, and we start to push higher. Ultimately, we should get confirmation from the following week with Amazon, like the rest of the names that that all come out the following week on that Wednesday, Thursday. So going back to Intel, we had this high range build out. This kind of, let's just say, bull flag ultimately turned into a breakout failure, which ultimately led to reversion back towards the low end of the range and kind of taking out the low end of the range. So the behavior is somewhat to be expected and symmetrical. Initially, I had these kind of drawn out just based on the width of this range. So you could just say 100 to 130. It's a 30-point range. When price does break out of this range, the near-term target per se is a 30-point move. On a bigger scale, you're looking at an A, B, C leg up. That's, let's just say 40 to 130. It's the 90-point move, 90 points off 100. Yeah, ultimately, I think it's probably going back to 180, 190, so long as this kind of holds. To the fundamental story and that analysis, obviously that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think?
One company we've discussed before that got slammed last week is Intuitive Surgical. You see anything worth buying? That's just one. I mean, Da Vinci surgical robot. I feel like over time, if they implement AI enough, you could remove the human element of the surgeon and just have someone monitoring, this AI robot doing surgery itself. I mean, this could be in the sweet spot. I've always said they should just announce a partnership with Nvidia to where their robots are going to be doing the surgeries themselves, but slow down. And I think it was slow down in procedures to like the low teens is what got this one absolutely clobbered.
Yeah, it's kind of in no man's land. It doesn't look great. I think if let me look here.
What was the news, Joey, that dropped them so much?
They reported earnings last week,
okay.
And I want to say it was a double beat, but their outlook called for it was like 13 to 14% procedure growth, which is it's not what people are used to with this one. And for a stock that was still trading at, I'm trying to pull up the valuation. It's always been an expensive stock, so it's still trading at 31 times next 12 months earnings. So it's just not something people were willing to assign that premium multiple anymore. So this is one I was always saying, like, if I could get this closer to 300 or like just below, that's where the valuation would get pretty attractive.
Round numbers are easy to trade against. 300, 400, 200, 500 doesn't really matter. So I'm with you there. On top of that, you have this kind of massive puke candle. So on a real short term, you could use this candle as your, again, to gauge risk. You could take an entry through the high of it, or you could have taken an entry versus the low of it. Basically, and the stance here would be, this is an undercut and rally trade. They tried to push price lower after this. Like, after you see something like this, if they really didn't want it, you should see continuation to the downside. And based on this shit right here, this almost looks like kind of a puke, like capitulation a little bit. It closed on the lows, which you might not have wanted to see. But again, based on today's candle, you could risk today's low as a trade. The
other one that puked was to close the loop on ISRG. This was one that I think, Joey, you called this during COVID, because no one could do those like alternative or like the cosmetic surgeries, or like unless it was like absolutely necessary. All surgeries were like put off basically. And then I think right after COVID is when it popped, because everyone started coming back into them. I don't know what this is. What's Star?
Star Surgical was another kind of hot COVID. I believe it's in what is it, iridology or your eye? I think they perform eye surgeries, if I'm not mistaken, but it's been a long time since I've.
Oh yeah. I remember this from like the Motley days. I'm pretty sure you're right on that.
Which, I would imagine they're in a similar group. You got this massive base here, and essentially we're testing it.
A lot of the medical device stocks have been crushed because you got Transmedics.
Look at Boston Scientific, or here I am. Look
Oh
at
yeah,
Boston Scientific.
Yeah, they've been crushed. Same with like Procept, PRCT, they've been crushed. TMDX has been crushed.
Wow.
This whole group, and that's another reason. Like I was looking for, I feel like Intuitive Surgical is like the best in breed, but it still traded that premium for the slowdown. So it's just one of those spaces. Like, yeah, I don't want to buy the industry that everybody hates right now, but as soon as it turns, it could be pretty interesting.
Yeah, I saw IBM also. They got smoked. Was it last week or the week before?
Oh yeah, they pre-announced.
Yeah. So, and Tesla pre-announced they should have, revenue wise, I think they sold the most Teslas in Q2 that they've ever done. Man,
so the other thing in Nashville, my new friend Preston, he had the Rivian. It wasn't like the truck, it was the full kind of like an expedition type thing.
Yeah.
And that thing was beautiful.
Yeah.
The third row, I will say, quite cramped. But when I was sitting in the middle row or the front seat, that was a very nice car. So they could figure it out. They definitely got a quality product, but they just got to stop deluding our shareholders.
I've seen probably 20 of them in the past week, and I haven't been seeing them. So
yeah, there's a lot by me because I'm in Northern Virginia. I think there's a big like Rivian plant around here, but that's the first time I ever rode in one. And I was like, all right, let's see what this is all about. And I will say it was very nice.
They had self-driving too, or no?
I want to say they do.
Oh, do they?
All right, we're gonna
like they announced it. Rivian FSD.
Google search. We can do
that. They call it their autonomy platform.
Universal hands-free.
Autonomy Plus. Hands-free on-point driving.
There's Tesla.
Yeah, so maybe theirs just isn't like fully released or something.
Yeah, Tesla's still.
Oh yeah, Rivian's CEO says company released tech similar to Tesla FSD later this year, and that was last month.
Yeah, it's interesting though. They were low on the windshield wiper fluid, and I had to like go to the gas station and clean up because all the cameras, and if there's like blurry, it like messes it up a little bit. So it actually turned off full self-driving for me for a second, and I was like, I had to call the guy here. What else do we got? We got I just made a prediction here. We can plan for that.
To back up just a second, Joe, here's a kind of a prime example, and IBM, kind of to relate to your ISRG. You didn't quite get 200, but you could easily have taken a trade versus that round number. And then again, when you're stacking these things, again, you have this high volume puke candle. They did try to crush it lower. It reclaimed that high volume low. It didn't follow through, but it ultimately kind of put in an inside candle. And here we're reclaiming, or it's trying to reclaim that pivot as well. I think this is the kind, whether this, succeeds or not, I who knows, but I think this is the kind of thing I would be looking for if I was trying to bottom pick ISRG.
Yeah, see, and this could be the other thing where, it's only like 2 or 3 trading days since Intuitive's puke.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I had like a good week where it's like, okay, it seems like the selling's done. Because I'm just too much early on in my trading. It's like you get the big down day, and I was always trying to buy on that down day, and then you have like another 3. So then like the 3-day rule, and then I've almost turned it into like the 2-week rule. Like, all right, let's see how it reacts. Like, is it just going to be trading sideways for a bit? Because then what's the point in deploying capital into something that's just going to go sideways until the next earnings report?
Pain.
Like, what catalyst can get me there? Like, Intuitive could do nothing until its next earnings. And then what if they just reaffirm the outlook that everybody hated? Then it could go down again. It could just keep trading sideways. It's like, I want the company that's going up, that's doing everything right, that can keep going up. But we'll bottom fish if I think the market's got it wrong. I just don't know if they've got it wrong on IBM or Intuitive at this point.
Sure.
I know they had it wrong on Meta, and that's slowly coming back. But yeah.
To wrap up the show here real quick, let's wrap it up with Bitcoin. There was $100,000 market on predicts. I just went in and made a $75,000 market here. Will Bitcoin hit 75K by the end of 2026? So December 31st. For those unfamiliar with predicts, though, too, this is a prediction market that is 100% Bitcoin denominated. So if you're a Bitcoiner or want to make more Bitcoin or potentially lose more Bitcoin, you can lose here too. But I hit yes for that. We'll see what the market.
Never heard of these guys. This is pretty cool. You know these guys?
Yeah. They're friends of the pod and sponsors of the pod. So we're gonna be doing. I think for week 1 of college football, I'm gonna do something in New York for that, and then maybe we do something fun around when you come to New York for Stocktoberfest too.
I'm in.
Dude, yeah.
Do you want to? I don't know if you want to talk about Stocktoberfest. It's coming up.
Oh yeah, Stocktoberfest, October. Go to Stocktober. I think it's Stocktoberfest.stocktwits.com. Check it out. There's gonna be a lot of cool speakers. We're still getting more in the mix. Come hang out with Howard, me, Avi, Nick. Nick's gonna be there, and then the rest of the boys, GP, Ben.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of good dudes in New York.
Should be fun. This one's in my backyard, so I will make it to this one.
Just go wherever Howard is hosting conversation. Just sit there and just
dude, 100%.
That dude, he is so funny, but so damn smart at the same time. Like you just don't know what you're gonna get out of him. And I just watched his panels the whole time. That's where like Chris Camillo was in there, and I realized he's a freak of nature, and I love that dude. He always brings up his friends and just some crazy conversations. You learn so damn much. Like Chris taught everybody everything they need to know about the robotic space before everybody started digging in. And yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, he's amazing. All right, guys, I got another call, so let's wrap this thing up. But appreciate everyone coming on. Tomorrow we will be back at 12:30 with your boy Caleb.
Cause we pop 'em like overhead and vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire.